it's a little bit early, but I think we're good to call it the official start of spooky season. What do you think?
I think it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty spooky, personally.
I am feeling quite spooktacular myself.
And in that spirit, if you want to support the spooky season, like, comment, and subscribe, but also, I have a big announcement that I totally forgot to do last week. But I will not forget this time. First of all, welcome to Under the Bridge, everybody.
Welcome to Under the Bridge.
I'm Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And I am Greg, aka Greg.
And the big announcement is that after last year's ended up not happening on account of rain, and a year of building my self-esteem back up after that,
Aww.
It Came From Under the Bridge is coming back!
Yeah! Whoop whoop!
Yeah, we're doing a live horror movie double feature screening at Unlimited Video Games Superstore and Arcade. So if you are in the Pinellas County area, honestly, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, honestly, if you just feel like swinging in and checking out some horror movies about cars of indeterminate quality.
Yes!
Swing in. There's gonna be trivia. You can win prizes.
Hey, prizes galore.
I am keeping... Don't say galore. You're setting an expectation I can't possibly hope to keep up with.
Aw.
Anyways, the movies are secret.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to find out exactly what they are, you're just gonna have to show up. Maybe they're high-performance films. Maybe they're cinematic car wrecks. Who knows? Now that that's over with.
Mm.
God, that felt dirty.
What?
I don't have it in me to be a social media guy, I don't think.
I mean, I'll post to social media, but I don't think I'll be social media, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Mm.
I don't know, what do you want to do first? Because we got all kinds of news. We got strike news, we got game news, we got comic news.
What are you feeling frisky with right now?
Let's start with games.
Okay.
Start with the gaming news. You have very helpfully supplied the gaming news this week.
Yes, I have. The two main things, or at least, I mean, there's been a bunch of different game news, but the two things that I think are very interesting is, first and foremost, it was announced earlier today on the official Platinum Games Twitter account that founder of the company and longtime creator of really awesome games, Hideki Kamiya, will be leaving Platinum's Games October 12th, 2023.
Oof.
In a shock to the system, to say the least. Yeah, Platinum on their official Twitter account announced that he would be leaving on the October 12th, and then Kamiya on his own account stated, quote, "As announced on the official Platinum Games account, I will be leaving Platinum on October 12, 2023. This came after a lot of consideration based on my own beliefs and was by no means an easy decision to make. However, I feel this outcome is for the best. I will continue to create in my Hideki Kamiya way, trademark pending probably, and I hope you'll keep your eyes peeled," unquote.
The trademark pending probably was not part of the quote, just to make it clear.
No, it was not. Yeah, it was not. Yeah, no, it's a surprise, because, like, for the uninitiated, Kamiya is a guy who has been influential in creating a number of noteworthy games, including, but very much not limited to, Resident Evil 2, DMC, Clover, Bayonetta, Beautiful Joe.
Henshin a Go-Go, baby!
Henshin a Go-Go. A lot of very neat titles. Of course, my personal pick out of that, because it's the only one I've played, even though I have a couple of these in my personal collection, is DMC, which always worth playing, with the exception of DMC 2. Yes, I do like the Ninja Theory one more than DMC 2. Come at me, haters.
If they do, I guess that means you gotta run DMC. I will not apologize.
No, you shouldn't, but I'm also encouraging this because that kind of haterade drives up engagement, so ha!
Heck yeah!
But yeah, no, this is a significant surprise. I mean, if anything, based on what Kamiya himself has said, it confirms that he's probably not retiring. Because I wasn't sure if it was a thing of, like, if he's leaving to do his own thing again, or if he's, I mean, yeah, because it's like, he created his own company. It's like, I'm leaving the company I created to do my own thing. It's like, I feel like again is warranted at that point. Not anything against him, it's just how I see it. But if anything, it's kind of encouraging that it means that he's still going to be working on something. So, that's
True.
Good news, I would say.
It does make you wonder what Platinum did to piss him off, though.
Yeah! I hope it's not a repeat of the fallout between Kojima and Konami.
Oh, who knows? It very well might be.
Yeah.
Or it might not be.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, this doesn't seem very angry. So I don't think it is, but who knows what happens behind closed doors.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like, and this is an overgeneralization, but I feel like when it comes to Japanese corporate culture, you really wouldn't expect him to blow up.
Yeah, fair.
We're parting ways feels like it pretty much is him saying, man, just go take a long walk off a short pier.
Yeah. For real.
I had to get creative because it was still too early in for me to drop an F.
That's fair. I might ruin that at some point, and I apologize unexpectedly. And then, in a different thing that I personally think is an interesting, very interesting interview, the COO of Capcom, I'm probably going to butcher this man's name.
Haruhiro Tsujimoto?
Thank you. Haruhiro Tsujimoto was interviewed by Bloomberg at the Tokyo Game Show. He was asked a number of questions in regards to the future of the company, how well Capcom is doing right now, mobile gaming and all that. And the main thing that would probably be the most interesting overall is that he was asked about the possibility of Capcom either buying out other companies or being potentially bought out by Microsoft. And in regards to the Microsoft question in particular, when asked if he would entertain the possibility of Microsoft buying out the company, Tsujimoto said that if it came to it, I feel like we would respectfully decline. The long and short is that he believes that to create good games and a good productivity in general, you need to really work on your in-house resources that you have, mostly your human resources. So with that...
Especially the lungs and the kidney.
Yeah, especially... Shut up. So, if it's not clear, I'm also paraphrasing this interview. To that extent as well, in order to make that good creativity, you have to really bring up your human resources and all that. So to him, he said it wouldn't make sense for either for Capcom to allow itself to be bought out by Microsoft or for Capcom to buy out other companies. He said that, in his opinion, it would be better if Capcom and Microsoft existed more so as equal partners.
And I feel like Microsoft kicks back at that and just thinks... Yeah, good. That's cute.
Well, it's funny because with the whole, and actually this is probably something that should have been mentioned before, but it's been talked about to death, so I completely forgot about it. Microsoft, accidentally leaked their future plans up through 2030, mostly like...
Oh, no!
Oh, no?
What? They did that?
Yeah, initially it was said that, I'm surprised you didn't hear about that.
No, when did this happen?
This happened, I want to say last week? I could very well be correct.
Where was I? Oh my god.
So, in fairness, I didn't think much about it because when this news broke, it basically made the rounds the instant it broke, and it was covered so much by so many people that I didn't think it was super important to talk about here. Because by the time we would have gotten around to it, it already would have been, talked about to death.
Yeah, fair, I guess.
Initially, it was said that...
Let me guess, the whole plan was buy more stuff.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, well, color me surprised.
Although, a lot of the plan was to go deep, and very hard into digital gaming.
Giggity?
No, not really. But
Okay.
I'm biased because I like physical games too much.
Yeah, same.
Amongst various things that were leaked were... Now, granted, these are all things that were... The documents that were leaked, while all being legitimate internal documents from Microsoft itself, these were things that are kind of in the whole aspect of, this is what we would like to happen by 2030. Nothing really confirmed or anything like that. Amongst things that were talked about, probably the bigger things were a refresh of the Series S and Series X, which,
Jesus.
In the internal document...
Please tell me it included fix the name.
No. Oh no, that would actually make me happy. No, in the internal document, apparently one of the descriptors, I think, for the refreshed Series X was for it to be now described as adorably all digital. That is an actual line in this document.
No! 100% no. That's not adorable. That's dystopian.
Yes. I'm hoping that if they do decide to go along with this, they do what's being rumored with the upcoming PlayStation 5 refresh, in that, yes, it's an all-digital console, but there is going to be an optional disc drive attachment that you can buy down the line later. I wouldn't be crazy about that, but I would at least be willing to accept that possibility.
I wouldn't, but different strokes, I suppose.
Well, I feel like they would have to for all the people that probably still use backwards compatibility with Xbox 360 games.
Yeah.
Because you'd be alienating a lot of people.
No, I mean, just make the disc drive built in. Don't make it an optional accessory.
Oh, that too. Like, that's where my brain goes more than anything else. It's just do that.
Yeah, in case you've forgotten, other consoles tried to make optional disc drives a thing. Looks at N64. How'd that work for them?
I mean, I feel like a certain argument could be made about the technology being in its infancy, but I also
that's definitely a factor. But I'm also gonna poke fun at it.
I mean, fair. I was gonna say I do agree with your broader point in general, and honestly, so much of that leak goes into so many different things that I really don't feel like talking about it at length on this show.
Fair.
Because it's a lot. If you can find it, which it's not hard to find it, because it's all over the freaking internet. I definitely recommend reading it if you get a chance to, because it's interesting, but it's also one of those things where as you're reading, it's just like, how did you guys mess this up? Like, how did these very important documents get out?
Top men.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, no, a lot of this talk seems to be in wake of that massive leak in regards to Capcom buyout. Because other things talked about in the document were Microsoft not so much trying to, but eyeing up the possibility of buying out Square Enix, Sega, and you'll love this one, Nintendo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, as soon as I saw that, it's just like, alright guys, you're
lay down, go home, you're drunk.
Yeah, it's like, just put the bottle down, get a designated driver, sleep it off.
Do you want me to call you an Uber?
Happening.
I'll call you an Uber.
It's like, when I saw them saying it's like, considering buying out Nintendo, I was like, alright, let's take a step back here. Let's come back to reality. Let's snap back to reality.
Disgusting.
Yeah, no. But yeah, with all of those news, of course, it would make sense for that question to be raised towards Capcom, because as I understand it, Capcom is doing very well right now.
And for Capcom to basically say, no. Fuck no.
Yeah, like, Capcom is like they're doing really well, their games are doing really well, financially they're in a good spot.
Apparently you're going to be able to play Resident Evil on an iPhone 15, which when the fuck did we get to 15?
Yeah, I mean, I barely pay attention to Apple products as it is, so I don't know, but I was just like, is that really how far mobile gaming has come? Part of my brain is going, I don't know if I like that.
Congrats, Greg, we're becoming boomers now.
Yeah, for real. But their projection is to sell 100 million individual copies of their games in a year. Games, plural. Which was actually really sobering, because it was the thing that reminded me of, like, where Capcom sits overall. Because I feel like a lot of titles... Well, not a lot of titles, of course. Like, no individual game has ever really broken more than 100 million copies, as I understand it. I don't think even Grand Theft Auto has. At least for, like, on individual games, not a series as a whole. But that was kind of the thing that made me go, I was like, oh, you know what, that's right. Relative to everyone else, Capcom's not exactly small time, but, you know, they're not as big as, like, the likes of, like, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Square Enix, yada yada. But yeah, fun things, and in a really odd case of Japanese game people being based. Yeah, which is kind of weird in all honesty, but I'm all for it. Even speaking as someone in Microsoft's ecosystem, it's like, alright, I'm glad not everyone is just bending to the will of the Green X.
Well, let's say we break away from the disgusting world of corporate gaming, and into the equally disgusting world of major comic publishers.
So still corporate gaming, but paperback.
Yeah, with pictures.
Alright, let's go.
So you know how I keep saying the Ultimate Universe is back?
Somehow, yeah.
Well,
it blew the fuck up, but whatever.
Yeah, it blew up, and then it came back, and then it came back again, and then... And then Hickman made a new Ultimate Universe where the maker that's the Ultimate Universe, Reed Richards, went to a different universe that was identical to the Ultimate Universe up to a certain point, and then he fucked with it and made himself God, and that's the Ultimate Invasion series that's going on right now. But, in the wake of that...
I hate everything about what you just said, and I don't even read the fucking comics.
Oh, just wait. Just wait. Per
Okay.
Marvel Entertainment, Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Invasion limited series spawns an entire new Ultimate Universe, complete with a new Ultimate Spider-Man. But I heard that. That was amazing.
Why?
Oh,
Why is there a new Ultimate Spider-Man? We already have Miles.
No, Miles isn't Ultimate anymore because he's in the mainstream.
God fucking damn it. I hate comics. I don't even read the fucking
Now we're
things.
getting another Ultimate Spider-Man. Presumably, we don't know that it's who it's gonna be. Maybe it's Peter Parker. Maybe it's a new Miles. Maybe it's a third guy. I don't fucking know.
Watch it be Miguel O'Hara.
Well, I've actually got some more Miguel news, but that'll come later.
Okay.
Funny you should say that, though. No, I would have thought it'd be really funny if it was Ben Reilly, but good fucking luck. Or Kane Parker, but nobody's seen him in a couple of years.
Who's Kane Parker?
He's another clone.
A clone of who? Peter?
Yeah.
When were there...
Ben Reilly's a clone! That was a whole thing in the 90s! Just Spider-Man was getting cloned left and right. Remind me to tell you about Spider-Side sometime.
Is there just a Grand Army of the Republic, just all spider people?
Not
the
that,
Grand Army
not
of the,
that bad.
Of the Grand Army of the Spider Public or some shit?
Oh,
what the
man.
hell?
I really need to bring back Poorly Explained Comics, but let me tell you, preparing for that Blue Beetle episode and then having tech issues and then watching Blue Beetle fall out of the public consciousness really did a number on my enthusiasm. So,
Oh boy.
oh well, Loki's coming out soon. I'm gonna have to do something for that.
Okay.
Anyways, the point is, the Clone Saga was a whole thing, and it was supposed to be short. And then the editors realized it was selling well, so they were like, no, keep it going, stretch it out. And then it took actual fucking years, and by the end of it, nobody cared anymore, and it was stupid and confusing, and it got so bad that they ultimately just decided the Green Goblin was responsible for the whole thing.
What the fuck?
As they tend to do.
What, is the Green Goblin just that easy?
Well, okay, if it's not Green Goblin, it's Doc Ock, and if it's not Doc Ock, it's Mephisto, and if it's not Mephisto, it's probably just Peter fucking up.
Okay. Oh, that's not okay, but whatever.
No, it's not okay, but it is expected. Anyways, I'm interested for more details on this. I'm curious to see how this Ultimate Spider-Man thing is going to work, because Hickman is, generally speaking, much more of a big idea paradigm-shifting guy.
Okay.
And Ultimate Spider-Man was much more grounded, relatable.
So Ultimate Spider-Man was more, I don't want to say based.
Whedon-esque?
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'll take that, I guess.
A little more
Fucking
Whedon-esque.
dude. Okay.
So we'll see.
Whatever.
Apparently it's out January 2024.
Okay. I will enthusiastically await your review of it, because Lord knows I'm not fucking reading
Oh,
it.
I'm waiting for the trade paperback. Are you fucking serious? I don't collect single issues anymore. It's stupid. It's terrible. No way to do business.
Fair.
Trade paperbacks are where it's at. Anyways, we'll probably also get more information because New York Comic Con is next month, so...
Okay.
Anyways, the Spider-Man 2099 news.
Alright.
No, this is good.
What do we got?
This is good.
Okay. Miguel O'Hara's dead.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Also in
Keep going.
January, we're getting a 5-part limited series called Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 by writer Steve Orlando, which is going to be an interesting mashup of 2099's dystopian future and Marvel's horror icons.
Marvel's horror icons?
Yes. Issue number 1 is going to have the introduction of the Marvel zombies of 2099.
What?
Miguel O'Hara's going to team up with Blade to take on a zombie infection.
That's a sentence I never thought I would ever hear in my entire life.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have specified. It's Blade 2099.
Even still.
The second issue is called Beware the Lunar Tomb of Dracula.
Okay.
The moon is under attack and Spider-Man must team up
What?
with... Hold on.
What? No.
It's one of those things where you gotta remember, 2099 used to be 100 years ago, as opposed to, 70.
70. Okay, that's fair. The
Yeah.
moon is under attack.
The moon is under attack, and Spider-Man must team up with Moon Knight 2099 to save it, and our celestial web-slinger is gonna need some new armor to get through it all.
Okay.
So it's Moon Knight and Spider-Man teaming up to fight Dracula!
So, you know what's really unfortunate? Several years ago, I would have been excited by such a... by such a thing. Now I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be really stupid.
You've been burdened with too much comic knowledge, and you can see the writing on the walls.
Yeah, and again, that's amazing considering I don't read the comics. I have an expensive enough hobby collecting video games.
Oh, you think that sounded stupid? Wait till you hear the synopsis for issue 3.
Oh boy.
Orlando and artist Jason Murr deliver an over-the-top monster mash for the 100th legacy of Spider-Man 2099. Cursed by Blood. It's Werewolf by 2099!
I swear to God, if there's not a Monster Mash song reference, I will actually fucking riot.
Werewolf by 2099, they say.
So is it like a cybernetic werewolf at that point?
It looks like just a werewolf as far as I can tell. No, wait, okay. It does have a cyborg thing. It is a cyborg werewolf.
Oh, come on, it was just a joke.
Oh, you were right, you magnificent son of a bitch, you got it!
There's nothing magnificent about that.
Issue 4 is gonna be Spider-Man against the new Terror Incorporated. Terror, to the best of my understanding, is an anti-hero who can acquire people's skills through their disembodied limbs.
So the AI that might be used to make movies, then.
Yeah. Topical, well done.
Thank you. I think.
And then issue 5 is gonna have 2099's version of Man-Thing, where Spider-Man must find a way to save the lives and data of the people of Nueva York from the monster's burning touch.
The monster's burning touch?
Yeah, whosoever feels fear burns at the Man-Thing's touch, or something of the sort.
Did, they literally, spontaneously combust?
Yeah, they pretty much just burst into flames.
That sounds so stupid.
It's horrifying. I love Man-Thing. Giant size and otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
No, never forget, Marvel was straight up publishing a comic called Giant Size Man-Thing.
Ew.
Right?
That's a gross title.
So I'm very excited for this. I cannot wait. I don't care if it's the stupidest thing in the fucking world.
It ends up coming out, and it's a thing of I literally said I didn't care if it's stupid, and I'm somehow still disappointed.
I'm still disappointed.
It's the whole thing of my expectations were, it was impossible to make them any lower, and you still dug a hole out from underneath me. It's and there were my expectations. They were already fucking dead.
You've somehow managed to disappoint my non-existent expectations. Anyways, let's get into other news.
Oh boy.
This one's brief. It has been confirmed by Eiichiro Oda that One Piece on Netflix is in fact getting a season 2.
I have been hearing shockingly good things about this show.
Same. I still haven't had a chance to watch any of it, and I'm really upset, because I actually want to. I just haven't had the time, and when I've had the time, I haven't had Netflix on my TV.
It's anecdotal, of course, and I know it's not really a barometer of high journalistic integrity or whatnot, but if my coworker Anthony is saying that it's actually good, and I'm sorry, Anthony, if you're listening to this, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but if I'm hearing him say that it's good, then it's okay, so this is probably actually worth seeing then.
Nice.
Because I know no other man who will harshly criticize something he loves, maybe to the same extent of you.
I do tend to tear down the things that I love the most.
Yeah, so it's
okay, not as much as the things that I absolutely fucking despise, but it's a close second.
Yeah.
Love, hate, love.
It's all the same emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been hearing nothing but great things about it, so I was just alright, it must be doing exceptionally well then to get a second season.
Right, especially because that's an expensive fucking series.
Oh, it has to be, absolutely.
And we all know how much Netflix loves pumping money into one season of something and then never continuing it.
Yeah, no, it's when I found when it shows hey, we're doing One Piece, I'm the CGI budget for this thing must be astra-fucking-nomical.
What are you gonna do in season 2 when the reindeer shows up?
Oh shit! I completely forgot about Chopper.
What are you gonna do when fucking Chopper shows up? How are you gonna pull that off and not make that look horrific?
Yeah.
I can't wait! I'm so excited!
That's gotta be something.
And then just another little bit of, something.
Mm-hmm.
Lionsgate has made a release date for John Woo's next action movie, Silent Night, which is apparently his first American film in 20 years.
Please tell me this is a Christmas movie.
Yes!
Good. I swear to God, I was gonna say, like, what? How do you have a movie called Silent Night being done by John Woo that isn't a Christmas movie?
Oh, wait till you hear this.
Oh boy.
So, the film has no dialogue, apparently. And
Okay.
here's the summary. The gritty revenge tale follows a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. While recovering from a wound that cost him his voice, Kinnaman makes vengeance his life's mission and embarks on a punishing training regimen in order to avenge his son's death.
Okay.
From
Yeah,
John Woo.
Weird, like, really oddball, crazy vengeance story sounds, I guess, on brand. It's been a long time since I've seen a John. My most recent experience with anything John Woo has been playing Max Payne.
Ah, fair.
So it's been a long time since I've actually seen any of his movies.
And yeah, that'll be coming out in theaters on December 1st, so Merry Christmas to us all, I suppose. And now, let's get into the strike news.
Oh boy, our favorite.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Pay your fucking writers!
And now actors.
I might have to change the jingle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I might have to change the jingle because, and this could still all fall apart, but after several very long days of negotiations, the Writers Guild of America and the AMPTP have reached a tentative deal on a new contract.
Oh, really?
Yep, the WGA emailed its strike captains on Sunday night, saying, "We have reached a tentative agreement on a new 2023 MBA, which is to say an agreement in principle on all deal points, subject to drafting final contract language. We can say with great pride that this deal is exceptional, with meaningful gains and protections for writers in every sector of the membership." The AMPTP confirmed the news in a joint statement. It still needs to be ratified by WGA members, and no details have been disclosed yet, because the negotiating committee said what remains now is for our staff to make sure everything we have agreed to is codified in final contract language, and though we are eager to share the details of what has been achieved with you, we cannot do that until the last I is dotted.
So basically they still have to put it towards the members of the union.
Yeah.
And if they're cool with it, then they can move forward.
If it's approved, the WGA West Board and the WGA East Council will also vote on whether to end the strike at a certain date and time pending ratification. I'm going to be interested to see what happens because SAG-AFTRA's still on strike and the WGA has indicated that they would continue striking in solidarity with the actors.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. This doesn't get everything back even if this deal goes through, because even if the writers don't still keep striking with the actors, they still don't have actors.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of need actors to make movies and shows and shit. Just
like you need writers.
Literally the two most important aspects of making any kind of entertainment media.
You're not going to get far without cameramen either.
Oh, fair. That's fair.
And sound people. And editors.
Really just the whole recipe.
Just pay everyone whatever they're worth.
Yeah, for real.
And fuck it. So, that's astounding if it goes through.
Yes.
But,
what do you think the chances are of it falling apart?
Well, see, it's going to depend on what the details are, and it's going to depend on... I would not put it past the studios to try to fuck it up and weasel out of certain things in the actual contract. But that's probably just me being cynical.
Yeah, cynical, but not unfoundedly cynical either.
Ain't that just a kick in the head? So, SAG-AFTRA is still on strike at this time. No deals, as far as I know, have been put into place. But, SAG-AFTRA has said, ahead of Dancing with the Stars rehearsals being picketed by the WGA, SAG-AFTRA is saying its members on the production are not running afoul of any strike rules.
Wait, so you're telling me Dancing with the Stars is keeping it real?
Yeah, Dancing with the Stars is apparently fine for actors to go on. Which I guess...
Okay.
Well, now hold on. I think that makes a certain amount of sense. Because, technically speaking, they're not really acting in Dancing with the Stars.
No, they're just competitors at that point. Or just judges, so...
I think a lot of them are actually, like, on the show as dancers, not necessarily as judges. I don't know, I don't really watch Dancing with the Stars.
But they're up there as themselves, doing their thing.
All I can think of now is that bit from the Muppets, like, 2015 series, where it was, like, an office mockumentary, where Kermit just goes to Gonzo and goes, "You walked into a hall full of dancing stars and you brought back Tom Bergeron?" That was good. That was a good time.
That
I
was
like
very
that
good.
show.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of miss it. But anyways, yeah. The program is a SAG-AFTRA non-dramatic production under a separate agreement that is not subject to the union strike order, according to their statement.
Right.
So, yeah, that's just a little thing, but I thought it was interesting enough to be worth including, especially because I was trying to pad things out until that conclusion was reached.
Fair.
Because the last couple of days, all I've seen is they're negotiating, they're close to a deal, they're negotiating, I'm just like, get on with it!
Yeah, get on with the get on with the writing jokes. I don't know.
writing jokes. So, with any luck, with the WGA hopefully no longer obligated to strike, and hopefully just doing it out of solidarity with the actors, this will hopefully serve as a kick in the pants for the AMPTP to get on board with their demands as well, and begin acquiescing.
Yes, indeed.
I'm gonna guess what happened is they released that one offer thinking it was really gonna turn the tides, and everybody collectively still went, no, fuck you, pay the writers.
Yeah, it's like, no, like, guys, stop trying to weasel out. You know the only way this is gonna go. Unconditional surrender.
Yep. Let's go to trailer time.
Let's do trailer time.
It's trailer time again. We've got movie previews to watch. It's trailer time again. Since the strikes are still technically happening at this point, and it's kicking the theater industry in the ass a little bit, we don't have a lot of trailers. We did get a new trailer for Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I almost said Songbirds, and then I thought, what's a songbird? Is that a singing iceberg? Is that what killed the Titanic?
Is it a musical in St. Petersburg?
Ooh, that would also be a thing. This still looks alright.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I have no frame of reference to, because I've never seen any of the original movies or read the books.
Likewise.
Yeah, this might be one of those weird things where I actually end up watching this and be like, maybe I should actually go and watch the movies now.
Yeah, I didn't...
That would be something.
I wasn't paying attention when the Hunger Games were a thing, but I feel like this looks a little more... What's the word I'm looking for? Grandiose? It looks a little more colorful and weird.
Yeah, I feel like it has that going because it's doing this odd thing of, like, the Hunger Games being the Hunger Games, but also keeping with the whole 1950s aesthetic that it's got going on, too. Because the 50s are generally known as being incredibly flamboyant and colorful and all that. So that is honestly the thing that has me interested in this movie, now that I think about it, is how they've got this mix of, like, the flamboyance and color of the 50s with the very dark and very messed up story that is the center of attention, being the Hunger Games.
Right.
It's, crap. What was the name of that one movie that we watched that Florence Pugh was in, where...
Don't Worry, Darling?
Yes, Don't Worry, Darling. Thank you.
Man, I remember when I was super excited for that one, too.
I kind of almost get those vibes if you turn up the dystopian totalitarianism up by 11.
And remove the mystery.
And, okay, maybe not the misogyny. It's probably still a good bit of misogyny.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably slightly less, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then this next one, Butcher's Crossing, actually released at a film festival last year, but it's wide releasing next month.
This looks like a good time.
Right? I mostly put it on just because Nicolas Cage, but this does look suitably suspenseful.
Yeah. Man, I feel like there's been 2 different trailers for Nicolas Cage movies in the last 2 weeks.
You're right.
Yeah, I thought about that. It's just like, this man is getting mileage out of this, because now he's like, I get to be in all the, like, it's not even the thing of, like, weird stuff for the sake of it. It's the thing, it's very clearly the case of, like, I get to be in the weird movies that I genuinely am very interested in being a part of.
Right? At the end of this, he seems very much unhinged, in a good way.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is clearly having a good time in this, as he was in the trailer for... Oh, what was the last one? Was it The Boy and the Heron?
No, that was the Ghibli one.
Oh, okay.
Fuck, why don't I remember this?
Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, no, it's, this looks good. I initially thought that the main character, that perspective I think is supposed to be shown through, is, I thought it was Chris Pratt, and I got very excited.
Same!
Yeah, because I was just like, wait, Chris Pratt and Nicolas Cage? Alright, sign me the hell up. Yeah, it's like, those are two, like, I don't think there's any, like, bad blood or anything, like, weird between them, but that was a thing where, like, I would never expect the two of them in the same movie.
Also, did you see that one segment where it looked like the cart was reverse falling apart?
Yeah, I was like, okay, we got some. I was thinking, like, all right, we got some Tenet in here.
I feel like that's got to be a dream sequence or something, or maybe it's just manipulated footage.
Yeah, it has to be.
Because if there's genuinely any actual sci-fi elements in this, I'll flip my fucking lid.
Yeah, apparently this is based on a novel by John Williams.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, this looks cool. It looks. I'm kind of, even though I don't watch a lot of them, I've always kind of been, like, at least an initial sucker for a lot of Western movies. So it's already got my attention there, with it also being a Nicolas Cage movie, too. From what I understand, The Old Way, which was, like, I think the last Western he didn't do very well at all. So part of me is thinking, like, I wonder if this is him trying to make up for how The Old Way went.
Who knows? Nicolas Cage doesn't have to answer for a goddamn thing.
No, he does not. Actually, I'm curious now, like, how badly did this movie do? The Old Way, that is. Because, again, I realized that it did. Holy shit.
Now I gotta look this up. How bad? Oh my god.
Yeah. No, what got me wasn't that.
Oh, it
was the box
release.
Office.
That's why.
Oh, okay. As I say, even then, its box office seems really low.
That's not great.
No, it's like $60,000 on the box office.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Alright, but if it's a limited release, then that makes more sense. Mm-hmm.
Let's go to this weekend's box office.
Oh boy.
We've seen 2 movies this weekend between the two of us. We each saw one, and neither of them were the highest grossing movie domestically.
What was the highest grossing movie domestically?
To my disgust and horror, it is still The Nun 2.
Emphasis on horror.
And when you hear how much it made, you will weep for everything else on this list.
Okay.
Because The Nun 2 won the domestic weekend with $8.5 million.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is now sitting at a $69.3 million domestic total and $204.5 million worldwide. Thanks for that, rest of the world. But the movie you saw came in close. It kept that real close, because it was
really.
It was Expendables 4 at $8 million.
Huh.
And with, as far as I can tell, no worldwide release information against a $100 million budget.
There's no fucking way. No, like, there's no way this movie it has to be paying all the fucking actors.
Yeah, no, what do you expect? Megan Fox, Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone are all in it.
Trust me, and I'll talk a little bit about it later on, this does not have any inclination of being a $100 million movie. Fuck no.
Scathing, coming from Greg, what an absolute indictment. And now I've killed him. Third place was A Haunting in Venice at $6.3 million domestically. It's sitting at a $25.3 million domestic total and $71.4 million worldwide. It has made back its production budget, so now it's just a matter of catching up with marketing, since the production budget was about $60 million.
Oh, okay.
Fourth place, Equalizer 3 at $4.7 million domestically for an $81.2 million domestic total and $148.6 million worldwide against a $70 million budget. Doing pretty alright.
Okay, so it's just now broken its profit margin then.
Yep. If you ascribe to the 2 times production budget, it can vary. It can definitely vary.
Right.
And then, oh man, in 5th place, it's still goddamn Barbie!
Alrighty.
Praise be unto Margot Robbie, I guess. $3.2 million domestically for a $630.4 million domestic total and $1.427 billion worldwide.
I don't know if you have it pulled up. What was number 6? How did it do? Because
I didn't bother to get the exact information, but it was my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Okay, because it was the thing, like, I wonder what the margin is between 5th and 6th, because Barbie has to be getting out of the top 5 at some point. Yes,
When it goes to home release, probably.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I know the counterpoint is, look at the entire last, 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah. No, it's been like 2.
Okay.
No, you know when Barbie will drop out of the top 5? When it's out of theaters.
Honestly, I could see that happening. I could see that happening 100%.
Yeah. And in 7th place, the movie I saw, It Lives Inside, at 2.6 million domestically. No worldwide release information yet as far as I can see. I can't find a budget. I've seen rumblings of 10 million, but I am no purveyor of rumor. Okay. One of these days, I need to remember to check and see if I can pull off the joke that I want to pull off. Maybe after this, if you've got time.
Oh, fair.
Anyways, you wanted to go on a rant about Expendables.
Sure.
Deal me in on this. How's it? How bad is it?
Yes.
Delightful.
Yeah, so Expendables 4. Don't see it. Oh, you need an actual descriptor? Okay. Okay, alright, in fairness, that was bad form. No, right,
it's honest. I can't fault honest.
I mean, well, I'll get more into it later on. So, Expendables 4, it's the 4th movie in the Expendables franchise.
I thought it was the 6th.
If you couldn't tell by the freaking number. Once again, we have an ensemble action cast consisting of Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture being actors coming in from the previous movies, alongside 50 Cent, which I'm going to be completely honest, I completely forgot that 50 Cent was in this movie. Until I was in the theaters, like, crap, that's right, you're in this. But yeah, 50 Cent, Megan Fox, Tony Jaa, I feel like I'm saying it wrong anyway. Yeah. Da-na-na-na-na. God, that freaking arcade cabinet. Tony Jaa, Iko Uwais, who, from what I understand, we'll get into it more later. Jacob Scorpio, a bunch of other interesting people, but, once again, ensemble action movie where Sylvester Stallone and his group of very lethal middle-aged crisis people are going on a CIA-backed adventure to stop someone from starting World War III again. So with this, as I understand it, this is supposed to be Statham's last entry in the Expendables series. This movie is supposed to kind of do more to set up Jason Statham setting up for taking over, like, the lead role in the movie franchise, which I genuinely don't see how there's another one of these. Like, I mean, it's a generic action movie. I would definitely say it's worth seeing. I'd say it's kind of worth seeing if you are a sucker for Jason Statham, which I absolutely am, because he's fun in it. He's generally fun in a lot of the things he is in, including the things that he knows are dumb. Because usually he just leans into how dumb it is, and that's kind of entertaining in its own right. Yeah, so let's see. This might be actually the most predictable movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh dear.
Some of it I feel like goes in the spoiler territory, but it's in the way of everything that's going to happen next, with I think like a couple exceptions, is very significantly telegraphed, or just kind of silly and goes on for longer than it needs to. I feel like the actors themselves, they're not doing a bad job per se, but I feel like it's more so what's going on in the movie and how it's written is what's letting them down. The movie has some of the most god-awful CGI and obvious green screening I have ever seen in my life. Like, it's bad. I was upset that you weren't with me on this, because I feel like we would have sat there and just probably made fun of the bad green screen more than anything else. There were several points in the movie where it was just, like, very obvious that people were talking against a green screen, and it's just like, oh, that's not good. That's not good, guys.
How's the actor chemistry?
I mean, it's a bunch of buff, strong people and Megan Fox making dumbass quips while killing people. How do you think?
Better or worse than Fast and Furious?
I would say worse.
Oh.
And that's actually the most damning thing because at a certain point as I'm watching this, I did very much, even though I've seen the previous 3 movies, and in a very broad way, I do generally like the series, because this series of movies are dumb fun. This is, the Expendables franchise is the equivalent of having a night out with buddies, smoking weed, being surrounded by soda, and playing Call of Duty. It's healthy. It's dumb. It's not healthy. It's unhealthy.
Yes,
it's very
I remember getting some exercise and sitting around surrounded by Mountain Dew.
It's deeply unhealthy. It's very dumb. There's no real substance to any of it, but you're still kind of having a good time because you've got a good group of people with you. Ideally, at least. So, because of how predictable this movie is, this movie actually does tension worse than Fast and Furious, I would say.
That's tragic.
This movie's not good. I do not believe for a second that this movie, even with the cast, this movie having $100 million budget is tragic. It is amazingly tragic.
Wow.
Because it does not look like a $100 million movie.
And $100 million's not even really that much anymore.
No, it's not, but it's one of those... The unfortunate thing is that the reason why I say that is because what kills me on that $100 million budget thing is the quality of what comes out. Some of the actual, practical effects and all that, as far as the actual, gunshots, explosions, stuff like that, because there are some practical effects in this movie, those are actually pretty solid. Those are pretty well done, I would say, overall, but they're not the entirety of the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, the gold standard when it comes to practical effects, and this is mostly just because the people who made the movie only used practical effects, they actually straight up said we refuse to use CGI for this movie, is the 2015 Need for Speed movie. Because they were like, yeah, we're going to use practical effects at every opportunity we get. Now, granted, still not a good movie. But something I very much respected.
And a movie?
Yeah, it was okay.
Oh,
God, who was in it? Yeah, fuck, who was in it? Because I know, the main reason that people want to see it was because
Aaron
of the
Paul?
Yes, thank you. Aaron Paul star. Because this was still during the height of Breaking Bad.
And Dominic Cooper?
Yeah, and also...
Rami Malek?
Yeah, Rami Malek is in it.
Michael Keaton? I could never do that again. If I ever do that again, I'll actually explode.
You know what? I don't think I can say much more about Expend4bles. Okay, actually, no. The best thing about the best thing about this movie for me had nothing to do with the movie. Is that when I got in my car and started my car to drive home, I was tuned into NPR. Yes, I listen to NPR. I don't know what that makes me, but I do listen to NPR. And and usually on the weekends they have a segment talking about the weekend's box office. And the journalist who was talking about the movies when getting 2 Expendables 4 said, but not far behind that was Sylvester Stallone's Expend4bles. She said that on the air, and that made me so happy.
Nice.
Because it's the thing of, not even this NPR journalist can take this seriously.
I wouldn't imagine so.
Yeah, no, there's not really an awful lot to talk about this movie. And I feel like even the spoiler section is not going to have too much craziness just because there's nothing really going on here. This is very by the books and not from a lot of good books, in my opinion. It's predictable. It's kind of bleh. I don't think it's personally worth seeing. Like I said, unless you just need, even amongst junk food movies, there's better options. Fast and Furious 10 Part 1 is a better junk food movie than this.
Ooh.
Genuinely.
I mean, I had a good time with Fast 10.
Yeah.
Way better than I was expecting.
No, yeah. And I know some people were going to be like, oh no, he's biased because he's talked about the Fast and Furious. Yes, that is true. But it is genuinely a better movie. Which, again,
I can't
is a shame.
say that, but from your description, it tracks. So, are we moving to spoilers?
Yeah, we'll move to spoilers.
Alright, if you don't want to get spoiled on Expend4bles for whatever reason, make sure to click away in 3, 2, 1.
So, I just feel like getting it out of the way. Sylvester Stallone dies.
For real?
In, the first Oh, you sweet summer child.
I meant for real in the movie, but...
Oh, no, yeah, in the movie, he dies for real.
Oh.
Well, oh, God almighty. So, he dies in, like, the first 20 minutes. And
What the fuck?
Setup... Yeah, no, for real. And the setup for the entire movie, after that point, is getting revenge on the dude who killed him, which is Iko Uwai's character, Ramat, who... well, first off, I'm pretty sure I just mispronounced his first name, but... I need to watch more of his movies, because the thing I always consistently hear about him in American movies is that he's always nerfed. I've never watched any foreign films with him in it, but from what I understand, people are saying, like, why do they always nerf him in American movies?
Probably because he's going up against guys like Jason Statham, who probably has it in his contract he can only get punched so many times.
Isn't that a real thing?
That was a real thing on some of the Fast and Furious movies of the past. I don't know if it's still a thing, and I don't know if it ever applied to Statham. I think it was more Diesel and Johnson who had those.
Fair. I mean, silly, but whatever.
Really went a long way to some anemic fight choreography, though.
Yeah. So Sylvester Stallone dies, and the entire premise of the movie from that point forward is getting revenge on the group that killed him.
Ha!
There's also a whole, like, nuclear war thing that's going on, but the main crux of the movie is getting revenge on the guy who killed him.
But it seems like a lot... granted, I haven't seen the first three. It seems like a lot of the characters from the first three aren't necessarily in this one.
No, they're not.
But what theoretically, wouldn't they be the ones more likely to try and avenge him?
Yeah. The main ones that are there or the main carryovers are Statham, Lundgren, and Kocher. I don't know what happened to... Well, I can imagine what happened to Terry Crews, given the last few years of his time in stardom. And also, from what I understand, he's having a great time on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nice. That's still going? I thought they canceled that.
I hope not. I've only seen clips of it, but it looks like a good time. There's a character, actually with the whole thing of getting revenge on them, there's a character that's introduced, being Tony Jaa's character, named Densha, who is apparently a former member of the Expendables, and honestly, nobody that I ever remember showing up. I'm being dead serious when I say that. Like, I'm gonna, just look this up real quick, just to make sure I'm not losing my freaking mind. Yeah, no, he's totally new. He's introduced as a character who used to serve with Stallone's character, years and years and years ago, and left at a certain point because he mentioned how at a certain point, he got so good at killing that the pain and, bad, guilty feeling that comes from killing just started to slowly fade away. And he got out of being a member of the Expendables because he was afraid that he would get to a point where he would be so numb to killing that he would lose what was left of his actual self. Which, I can respect that.
Yeah.
I can genuinely respect that. That is an interesting reason. And it actually set up a kind of an interesting dynamic, because the way he's introduced after Stallone's death, Jason Statham goes to Thailand to commandeer a former boat of his, to track down the guys who killed him, at which point he comes across Tony Jaa, fights him, ends in a draw, and they go together, and it's a thing of, at the end, as they get to the place that the enemy is at, Jason Statham goes, okay, you're going to go in after me, and Densha's just no, I can't. This is as far as my journey goes. I will help you get this far. But I'm you know what? That's pretty cool. That's really interesting. They're totally going to bring him back later in the movie. Yep. And lo and fucking behold, he comes back, kunais a-blazing. And he's fully decked out, ready to kill some motherfucker, and kills very efficiently. Jason Statham looks at him and goes, I thought you weren't coming back. And he's I realized it would be really disrespectful if Barney's friend died and he didn't finish his mission. I'm get the fuck out of here.
Oh, you just realized that, huh? This just occurred to you.
Yeah, and it's also a thing of, it feels really phoned in, and also a thing where the writers are just yeah, but it'll be cool if he does stuff, right? It's no.
I can hear the pitch meeting. I can hear the Screen Rant pitch meeting of, oh, and then this character comes back. Why? Because I thought it'd be cool. Oh, well, okay, then that does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm just no, just leave. It would have been cool if you had the balls to just fucking let him stick with his thing.
You mean Kumail Nanjiani in Eternals, which is a much better movie than most people give it credit for?
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry to divert the subject. I just really like that Kingo completely sat out the final fight in Eternals. I just thought it was cool. Anyways, continue.
But yeah, no, like, track down the guys, fight happens, knife fight between Jason Statham and Iko, which is honestly pretty freaking awesome. This all happens. There's weird conspiracy. I really don't want to go into a whole deep dive of everything that happened in this movie because I don't think it's fucking worth it.
No, that's fair.
And then Jason Statham... at the very conclusion end of the movie, it turns out, because the whole thing is that they're tracking down a nuclear weapon and whatnot, Jason Statham quite literally has his back against a wall, outmanned, outgunned, like everything is just like looking like he's gonna go down. And it's just so fucking telepathic. Because I'm just like, oh no, Jason Statham is like getting like shot at through windows and he's completely pinned down and he's out of ammo and everyone has ranged weapons that his knives can't fight against. Oh no, he's so good at what fucking saves him. And lo and behold, what saves Jason Statham is a helicopter gunship piloted by Sylvester Stallone.
Fuck! I'm glad I didn't see this now. You fucking kidding me?
Because it turns out...
Oh god, this is just a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, it is. I think... I'm not sure if I said this earlier
fucking
in this
mirrors.
recording. Not sure... I'm not sure if I said this earlier in this recording, but I know I told you this earlier. This movie is to people who like crazy Spec Ops military movies what the Fast and Furious franchise is to car people.
Oh,
but
God.
Worse. So much worse. Just with this movie alone. It turns out that years and years and years ago on like an early op that Sylvester Stallone did with the CIA, he faked his own death to lure out who he thought was a suspect terrorist named Ocelot. And
does he have a revolver?
Yes, he does, actually.
God fucking damn it!
Wait, hold on. No, actually, no, never mind. He doesn't have a revolver.
Okay, thank God. I almost got really mad.
So what's funny is that Ramat's character actually has a revolver. A really cool revolver, too. I think it's called the Unica 6, if it's the gun I think it is. And because the movie also plays up the entire thing to show, like, him being Ocelot. So I'm just like, Ocelot, he's got a revolver. It's fucking good. You guys are proud of yourselves, aren't you? But yeah, he faked his own death ages ago to lure out Ocelot to prove that he was... to prove who he thought Ocelot was. And he does so. And kills him. Which was the thing that kind of got me, because like, if you're trying to prove who it is, wouldn't you think the ideal thing would be...
bring him in?
To capture him and bring him back? Also, this is an extremely minor thing as well, I fully acknowledge this, but one of the core things with this movie is that it's taking place within Russian waters, and one of the things that the movie emphasizes is that even though, like, there can be no evidence that this is a US-led operation. Like, if you get captured or anything like that, you will be completely disavowed and on your own. I'm like, alright, that's neat. And then they go to the site of the operation in Russian territory, flying in a cargo jet with US Air Force markings. And I'm just like, you just spent a decent amount of time explaining that the US cannot be seen at all, or let's be culpable in this. Why are you going with a plane marked with the Air Force?
It also feels like it's undermining the idea that they're setting up Jason Statham to be the one taking over the Expendables team and therefore a franchise if he has to get bailed out by Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, no. And, like, the movie ends with, like... And that's the thing that killed me, too, is because the movie ends with, like, all of them back at the bar that they always hang out with.
Having a barbecue?
No, if only. That would have actually been kind of funny. That would have been really fucking funny. Having a barbecue, drinking some Corona.
Vin Diesel rolls up. I live.
It's like... I don't remember the name of the actual lyrics of the song, but I'm just internally... Like, the one song that played when Paul Walker was, like, seen, like, driving away from the franchise.
When I See You Again?
Like yeah, every time I think of that song, I forget about the actual lyrics and I just hear, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? But to the tempo of the actual song.
Terrible.
And and then later on, Sylvester Stallone, or like Jason Statham asked the question of, the very understandable question is like, okay, so how did you fake your death? Because they literally come across Sylvester Stallone's burned up corpse in their plane that had gotten shot down. And he's like, remember the guy that we fought in this bar at the beginning of the movie? And it turns out that, because there's a whole bar fight at the beginning of the movie because a dude more or less stole his special ring.
Yep.
And there's a clip flashing back to the initial mission that sets everything off, where Sylvester Stallone has apparently knocked this guy out, and then as the plane that they flew in on is coming down in flames, Sylvester Stallone takes this dude from the cargo hold, straps him in the pilot seat of the plane, and Halo jumps out of the back of it.
Oh, God.
And meanwhile, the guy wakes up, realizes that he's falling to his death, and starts screaming. And I'm just like, you know what? That is the least unbelievable part of this movie.
That's tragic.
That is the part of the movie where she goes like, you know what? As much as I hate to say it, that does actually kind of make sense.
All right.
And that's Expend4bles. Don't see it.
Neat. Thank you for that gripping analysis. So I've kicked off the unofficial start of spooky season, right? I saw It Lives Inside, which is a supernatural horror movie, and the directorial debut of Vishal Dutta. I apologize, I have probably mispronounced the fuck out of that.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, like, holy hell.
And I'm not really sure I can offer an opinion on whether this movie's worth seeing or not. Because, unfortunately, I had a really hard time gathering what went on in the earlier parts of the movie for two reasons. One,
Alright.
The showing I was at cut the subtitles off.
Really?
Yeah, the movie is largely in English, but the main character's mom speaks primarily in Hindi throughout the whole thing.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the subtitles cut off so low that I couldn't even hazard a guess at half of it. So I had to just infer what was going on from, context, body language, tone of voice, expressions, that kind of thing, whenever the mom talks.
Right.
So that was frustrating. Also not helping was I was stuck sitting not directly next to, but very close to, one of the most obnoxious groups I've ever had the misfortune to see a movie with. The theater was almost empty, and these chucklefuck teenagers, I hope they were teenagers, because if they're grown-ass adults, then they are an absolute fucking endorsement for there should be some kind of idiot tax. I don't know what you would apply it to, I don't know how you would go about determining it, and I do not mean to include anybody in that with genuine learning issues or anything of the such. I'm just saying the willfully ignorant, there ought to be a fucking tax.
Yeah, for real.
Because they would just not shut the fuck up. I moved to a completely different row from my seat just to get away from them, and it still didn't help. I could still hear a couple of them. And I would have gone and said something to some, like an employee or something, but it's like, I'm having a hard enough time following this movie as it is. If I miss a key scene because of these chuckle fucks. Anyways, I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
I had a hard time picking up on some of the things at the beginning, like I said, but the gist of it, essentially, is the main character, Sam, is kind of drifting apart from her mom because she's sort of drifting away from her Indian heritage, and she's trying to more, assimilate, be more quote-unquote American.
Right.
That sort of thing. Expressing some skepticism towards some of the traditions her mom is doing, and it being made to participate in some of them when she wants to be doing other stuff, yada yada.
Right.
And in the meantime, a former friend of hers she was very close with, but has since drifted apart, who is also of the same cultural background, and I guess that was part of why they drifted apart, is going through some shit.
What kind of shit?
It looks like she's not sleeping, she's eating her lunch alone under the bleachers, she's carrying a jar around with her everywhere.
The jar of dirt?
No.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. That was a pretty good one. And so her friend, Tamira, comes up to her at one point and says, I need your help, you have to believe me on this. There is something evil in this jar, and you can't see... It can't be seen. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't, and it needs raw meat, and it's getting stronger, and I can't keep it in. I need your help. And so Sam doesn't believe her and hears some of the other girls whispering and, saying disparaging things. And out of concern for her own image, she smacks the jar out of Tamara's hand.
Oh, no.
And, Tamira is panicking. And then she disappears.
Okay. Does she, literally disappear? At that scene?
Not at that scene, but Sam's trying to comfort her about it. And then Tamira starts freaking out about something that Sam can't see. Sam runs off to get help. And Tamira gets dragged away by something.
Oh, really?
We don't see what it is yet. So, the movie is not bad. Especially because I could still follow it despite... And it's not a lot of dialogue that I couldn't follow because of the subtitles. It was more a case of a combination of that and also having to try to listen to English dialogue while filtering out some obnoxious fucks having a conversation in the middle of a fucking movie. God, that... pisses me off more than it should, but...
No, I mean, it's fair, because it'd be one thing if it's they were literally the only people in the theaters, because we've had a couple of
we've done that.
Where we are... Because it's we are literally the only two people in this entire theater an hour in, no one else is showing up. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But even if there's a couple of people, if there's other people that you don't know that are complete strangers, you be quiet.
Right? Especially when, people start glaring at you.
Menacingly.
Which I did. But that's neither here nor there. No, this movie is interesting. I'm not super up on how relevant it is culturally, but I'd assume decently.
Right.
But there's also a very strong undercurrent of part of the monster is not just the monster, it's rejecting aspects of yourself. And in trying to distance yourself from those parts of you, they come back and become a bigger problem.
Okay.
It's not a perfect metaphor, because I feel like there's some... there's some rough points. There's some rough patches where I'm not 100% sure how well it tracks, but the intent is there, and for the most part, it carries over well, and it's very well communicated.
Okay.
I mean, case in point, this is a horror movie where I can actually analyze the broader point of what it's about. Because the thing with horror is that most good horror movies aren't just about the thing that is threatening you. It's about what the thing represents. Like The Babadook is depression and mental illness.
Yeah, it's depression.
Hereditary is the same thing, but through, dysfunctional families.
Talk to Me was drug abuse.
Talk to Me is drug abuse.
Yeah.
Don't Worry, Darling is... that's not really horror, but it's the patriarchy and misogyny.
I mean, I would call... Don't Worry, Darling, I would definitely call a horror movie, just not in the uber traditional sense.
That's fair.
I feel like, not that I can really, deeply comment on it being not a woman, but I watched this movie and I was like, if you're a woman, the idea of this has to terrify you.
Or at least be unsettling, or at least get an eye roll and go, yep, that's pretty much what it's like.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought this was pretty alright. It doesn't really scare me that much, but to be fair, I'm a little bit desensitized to a lot of horror, because I've seen a lot of it.
Right.
So, I'm more about, does it unsettle me a bit? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I imagine a resounding yes.
Not resounding, but there were definitely points where I was a little off guard. And most importantly, I actually care whether the characters live or die.
So, okay, you know what? That's good. It's always, I feel like, with some of these movies, it's a little bit too easy to hate the characters.
Right?
Not for completely unfounded reasons, that's not what I'm saying, but it's a thing, it's nice when, these terrible things are happening that have good representation to people that, as the audience, you actually care about and don't want to see these terrible things happen to.
Exactly. Especially when, like I said, I'm kind of conditioned where more traditional horror stuff doesn't really scare me that much, just because I've seen a lot of it. It's more important to me that I care about the characters and I care about the setup, because you're not really gonna get me with the scares. There are exceptions. There are 100% still things where I will go, no, thank you. But
yeah,
it's hard.
I have mine as well. I have mine as well, so I understand that.
So, let's see. Honestly, it's pretty straightforward. It's decent enough. Why don't you go to talk to people about it? Because of course they're not going to believe you. Because she starts uncovering an idea that this goes even farther back, like whatever this is has claimed victims beforehand that they also already knew, but connecting those dots is difficult.
Right.
There's a little bit of a romance subplot in it, but it's not super important, but at the same time, the chemistry's pretty good, so you actually... It's not boring, it's not tedious, and it sets up something real good partway through the movie.
Oh, okay.
So that's neat. I am not 100% sure I understand how the sealing ritual for this thing works, but that's probably, again, because I missed something between not being able to read subtitles because they were cut off and having obnoxious fucks who were especially loud during the first portion of the movie. And also the, third quarter of the movie, aka the worst times.
Oh yeah, because and this is where shit is going down, and they won't shut up.
It also makes it really hard to gauge because there's some conflict between Sam and her mom based on Sam's gradual rejection of traditions. But it's really hard to determine whose side I'm on, if I'm on anybody's side, when I can only get half the argument.
Right.
It's like listening to a phone conversation. Like, listen to someone talking on the phone, but you can't hear the other person. It's infuriating.
Part of me is thinking that this might be one that you may potentially have to see a second time, just under hopefully better circumstances.
I might get it digital, just because I don't want to take the chance of going to see it in theaters a second time and having it do exactly the same fucking thing,
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
I'm pretty sure it'll be in the same theater, which means it will be the same way. But, I don't hate the idea of watching it a second time, so...
Okay.
I'll probably do it again. In that spirit, I would say, yeah, this one is, I think, worth a watch. It's a decent horror entry. I like the extra flavor of tying it into a culture that I'm not overly familiar with, which, I mean, a lot of them do, but... I don't usually see a lot of them get theatrical releases, or at least when they do, I don't usually get a chance to go see them as much, so that was nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you're saying that too, because I realize it would be really genuinely disappointing if we had two movies back to back that were both like, no, don't go see it.
Right. It would be especially sad because this would be the second horror movie in 3 weeks where I would say, no, don't go see it. But in this one, yeah, go see it over The Nun 2, 100%.
Stop The Nun 2 from making money.
Yeah, I mean, it's too late. It's already made its money. It had like a $60 million budget or something ridiculous. So it's made its money.
Okay.
It's fine. They're gonna make more. Whatever. If you don't want to get spoiled on It Lives Inside, make sure to click away in 3, 2, 1. So, the entity is something called, and I apologize because I thought it was pronounced one way, and now looking at the spelling, I'm pretty sure I had it wrong, but I can't figure out how to read the pronunciation. Okay. I believe it's called a Peshak.
Hold on, because I want to kind of look at the...
The idea is, it's a, I guess it feeds off of negative energy. Apparently, back in India, Sam's mom was told, never go to sleep with a negative thought in your heart or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's terrible. That's me every day I go to bed and have to wake up and go into work the next day. I never make it. Oh, no. And the creature actually didn't kill Tamira instantly. It, apparently keeps its prey alive to tenderize the soul.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, no, it's pretty... occasionally you get interludes of Tamira trying to escape from where she's being held captive, but getting attacked by this thing over and over again.
Oh.
Its design is okay. It's unfortunate because it got a lot of abstract representations across the movie through artwork some of a previous victim of it painted that looked suitably horrifying and unknowable and alien, so that when you see the actual thing, it's alright.
But it's a bit of a letdown.
It doesn't quite match up to the majesty, But I'm very hard to please with horror monster designs. It takes a lot for me to call something exceptional in that regard. A lot of them I will just say are generic, but it's interesting. There's a teacher character who's very supportive. The love interest is not terrible. He says some dumb things, but you can tell he means it in a good way, and he seems to genuinely like the main character, which makes it all the more horrible when he dies in Act 2.
Oh. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, the fucking Peshak attacks him, and first it fucking strings him up from a swing set, and then it starts ragdolling him around, but you can't see it, so he's just fucking flying through the air. It's crazy.
Oh, I was gonna say, is it one of those things kind of like how with Mithrigan, where you don't see it, but you very much hear it?
No, you see him. You just don't. The thing is invisible.
So the actual, like, you see him get fucked up.
You see him get fucked up
doing it. Okay.
And you miss a lot of the gore because it's very frantic and it's very fast paced, but you can tell this thing is manhandling him. It's pretty intense.
Oh boy.
And I keep hearing stuff in the background, and it keeps making me nervous. So, you know what else is nice, though? Near the end of the movie, Sam goes to her mom and explains what she thinks is going on, and her mom actually believes her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right? It's a little refreshing. It doesn't even take, like, a monster attack beforehand or anything. She comes to her with her suspicions and is like, I think this is what this is. I need you to tell me about this thing. And she's like, okay.
Alright.
It was very nice.
Yeah, that's a good change.
I am so used to skeptical adults in these things who are like, oh, I don't believe you, right up until the monster's roaring right in their face. Then it's like, oh, fuck, you were right! It's Dracula!
And then it's like, Count Dracula?
President Dracula.
No, Dracula. Gun gets pulled.
Yes, Count Dracula. So, Sam manages to figure out where Tamira's being held, tries to seal it back up in a jar. Entity breaks a jar. Sam realizes that she can be used as a vessel instead, and they seal it up inside her.
Oh no.
And it cuts to a year later, and everything seems alright, except now she periodically has to eat raw meat.
Oh, that can't be good for her.
Probably not, but it's probably fine. The thing inside her probably processes all of it. And then, like most horror movies, it has like a or will it ending, and that's kind of annoying. I know this sounds stupid since I'm a horror enthusiast, but I'd like it if more of these just ended on an unambiguous "yeah, you beat it" note. I'm sure in a lot of cases, like when the monster represents something more, like the Babadook representing depression, ergo, it doesn't actually go away. The best you can do is treat it by keeping it in the basement and feeding it worms, and that keeps it from rearing up. Ergo,
yeah.
You can't actually just magic your depression away or beat it with a stick. You just gotta fucking deal with it, treat it, and keep the worst of it at bay.
Right.
So in this case, it's a case of Tamira and Sam are talking, and Tamira's worried about, oh, what if it gets out? And Sam goes, it won't. It'll never get out. And then she starts just looking more concerned, and then a tear comes out of her eye.
Oh.
So, I guess that means, no, it might still get out, which feels unfortunate, but, like, as horror twist endings, oh, or is it actually over goes, that's pretty tame.
It's still sad, though.
It's sad.
Yeah, because you're just thinking, like, that poor girl.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a particularly fun way to have to live.
Yeah.
But no, I thought this was decent. And I would probably have more to say if I hadn't been distracted the entire first act.
Right.
Or if I'd been able to read the fucking subtitles, because there's a whole scene where they're doing I do not remember what it's called. It's some kind of like prayer thing.
Okay.
And most of the dialogue in that is conducted in Hindi. And when the parents talk to each other, the dad mostly speaks English, but when he's talking to the mom, he tends to switch over. So whenever conversations between them are going on, it's like, okay, now I'm not really getting any of the conversation, because I'm getting vibes. That's it.
Yeah, it's like the most literal thing of, like, there are actually two different conversations happening in earshot right now.
Yep. And one of them is in a language I don't speak, and I can't read the dialogue, so whoops.
Yeah, it makes it even better. Ends up being a thing where you get it digitally, and the subtitles on the digital
still cut off. That would be infuriating. I'd love it,
That would be amazing.
But yeah, no, I definitely think this is worth a watch. My opinion might change if and when I get a chance to check it out again, now with added context. But all in all, it's not the most unique thing in the world, but it's definitely got a spin on it that makes it a little different from things that I've seen, and the fact that I actually like most of the characters involved goes a long way.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. And I think that about wraps up this episode.
Alrighty.
I gotta plug in my laptop before it dies.
Yes, definitely do that.
Next week, I'm pretty sure this is the week where our main option is the creator.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the one I'm going to go see.
Because it's either that, or we have to pick a side in the great Saw Patrol debate, and I refuse.
Yeah, it's the creator. There's like if I can't see the creator, I'm just not going to see a movie this weekend again.
Is it bad that if I had to pick, I'd probably go with Paw Patrol?
No, because Saw looks like... I mean, I know it's the Saw series. I know there's 10 of these freaking things, but Saw very much has the vibe of it is gratuitous just for the sake of being gratuitous, and even that gets old after a while.
What do you mean Dumb Money already came out? What?
Yeah, it came out this past weekend, too.
Oh! Fuck, No, I'm glad I stuck to the horror movie. You know what? I'm glad.
Yeah, no. Like, I do want to see Dumb Money, but I think I'm... For the sake of entertainment, I think it was better that I saw Expendables 4.
Well, I'm glad you had fun either way.
Yeah, ... Hopefully the audience is entertained.
Oh, The Kill Room is also out the same weekend, apparently. Allegedly. I'll have to see if there's showtimes. I might try to see The Creator and The Kill Room. That would be a thing, wouldn't it? Like, studios are trying to push Saw Patrol. It's like, I saw literally the other two.
Yeah.
Because the Saw Patrol thing is just... It's a meme. It's the Morbin time of Barbenheimer.
Yeah, it's like it's them trying and getting it wrong. It's like, we have Barbenheimer, guys. It's like, no, Barbenheimer did so well for very different reasons.
Yeah. In any case, thanks so much for listening, everybody. As I said earlier, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Make sure to follow us on yada yada, fine print, boilerplate, you get it. If you're in the area and you're free on October 29th, which is the day, I'm not sure if I ever said that date. For It Came From Under the Bridge, Under the Hood edition. I'm proud of that title.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah, that makes one of us.
Mm.
But if you can, make sure to swing in. Should be a fun time. I'm definitely going to be there. So that makes one of us, at least.
Yes. Alright.
And we'll see. We'll see. In any case, this has been Under the Bridge with Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And with Greg, aka Greg.
And we'll catch you guys next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.